All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we are diving deep into a case that is just truly bizarre. I mean, we're talking about a guy who made $15 million from murder.
Yeah, we're looking at a video by Ray William Johnson.
Oh, okay.
He does a really good job making this, kind of complex story entertaining. But what we're going to do is try to really pull out like the factual details and build kind of a timeline.
Yeah, I love that. So we're going from like a petty thief all the way up to a serial killer. How did he evade capture? And I guess what was his downfall?
So he starts out, pretty small, petty crimes in France, stealing, breaking into cars, and then things kind of escalate when he moves to Thailand with his girlfriend.
Okay.
And he starts targeting tourists.
That's where the tourists come in. So he was like drugging them to rob them, befriending them, sleeping pills in their drinks, and then stealing their passports and money.
Right. It's a pretty classic con, but things take a dark turn.
Ooh.
The first murder was an American backpacker that he befriended, and he drowned her in the ocean.
Oh, wow.
And so that's kind of a major turning point.
Yeah.
He goes from theft to murder.
Yeah. It's almost like crossing that line emboldened him, because after that, they get more violent. Like another tourist, he murders him, burns his body, leaves it by the roadside. And then when the girlfriend starts asking questions, she too is drugged and drowned.
Right. It's this pattern that starts to emerge. He befriends tourists, drugs them, murders them, and then uses their passports to travel.
Oh, that's so smart.
He's like assuming their identities to disappear.
Oh, wow.
And there are several murders in Nepal as well. He kills a Canadian man, an American woman, and he uses their passports to travel to Singapore, India, and then back to Thailand.
It's like a twisted game of hide and seek, but with like people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's like so random. There's the accidental poisoning during a robbery attempt, and then there's even the killing of his close friend after a falling out.
No.
It's like this disturbing picture of someone with no regard for human life.
Right.
And to make matters worse, there wasn't a lot of evidence.
Right.
So he was like really good at covering his tracks.
Yeah.
That's what allowed him to like operate so freely for so long. But eventually, his luck, it had to run out.
It does.
He came up with this like crazy ambitious plan
Yeah.
to drug and rob 60 French engineering students.
60. That's
60.
that's a lot. That just shows you how audacious he was,
Yeah.
But this is also like his fatal flaw.
Okay.
The drugs that he used on the students, they worked too quickly, and some of them managed to overpower him, and they eluded the authorities.
Oh, so it was like a miscalculation after years of planning and calculated risks. It was just a miscalculation.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested.
He does, and he's sentenced to 12 years in prison in India for poisoning and robbery.
Okay.
They tried to connect him to the murders but didn't have enough evidence.
Okay.
And Thailand is waiting.
Uh-oh.
They want to extradite him the moment he gets out. They're thinking death penalty.
Wow.
And this is where he takes an even more daring step. He drugs the prison guards.
Okay.
And he escapes.
Wait, so he escaped prison. What happened next?
He let them catch him again.
What? Why?
Yeah, it was a calculated move. He knew that the escape and recapture would add like another 10 years to his sentence.
Oh, so he was buying time.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was playing the long game. By the time he got out the statute of limitations for his crimes in Thailand, it would have expired.
So he was going to be a free man.
He was going to be a free man. But then he makes this huge mistake 6 years later.
What did he do?
He goes to Nepal.
Oh, no.
And that was the site of two of his earlier murders.
Right. The Canadian and the American.
Yes. And in Nepal, there is no statute of limitations for murder.
Oh, wow.
So he gets arrested for those crimes, decades after he committed them.
So after all of his planning and manipulation, it was like this simple fact about Nepal's legal system that brought him down.
Right. Wild. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Oh, wow. So after years of evading justice, he finally gets his comeuppance. So did he actually serve his full sentence?
He served 19 years and was released at an advanced age. And this is where the story takes, I think, its most unbelievable twist.
Okay.
Remember when we said he made $15 million from murder?
Yeah.
Upon his release, he sold the rights to his life story for $15 million.
What?
Yeah. He profited from the very crimes that landed him behind bars.
No way. So he escapes like real justice in Thailand, serves a shorter sentence in Nepal, and then like turns his horrible past into this giant payday.
It's pretty wild.
It's unbelievable.
It really raises these ethical questions, like, is it unjust that he's able to benefit financially from his crimes? But then again, it speaks to our fascination with true crime and the power of, like, a good story.
It makes you wonder if, like, all this attention and money could incentivize other people,
Yeah.
you know, to do bad things. It's a troubling thought.
Yeah.
Definitely a complex issue. It's, what do you think? Do you think this financial twist changes how you see this story? Does it make his crimes even more reprehensible?
I don't know. This is a lot. I mean, we've gone from petty theft to, murder, prison escapes, and now he's like rich.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is a deep dive into like the dark side of human nature, you know?
It is. And I think what's really, really fascinating about this is like how one person's actions can have such like a ripple effect. It's not just the victims, it's their families, the communities he was in.
Right.
And now, like, everyone listening to the story.
It's like our choices like really have these far-reaching consequences that we don't always consider. What are your final thoughts on all this?
I think it's really important to engage with true crime stories critically and with empathy. Like,
Yeah.
It's okay to be captivated by the suspense, but we have to remember that there are real people behind these stories.
Yeah, we can't get lost in the sensationalism of it all.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts?
I think we've looked at his life, his early crimes, getting caught, and this unexpected profit he makes.
Yeah.
We talked about like his methods, why he did it, and what happened because of it. But I think the biggest question that this raises is, what is justice?
Yeah.
Is it punishment? Is it rehabilitation? Or is there something more that we're missing?
Yeah.
It's something to think about.
Yeah, that is a good question to end on. I mean, this has been, I think, pretty unsettling, but I do think it's important to keep, having these conversations about, justice and what it all means.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive has really been a journey. We've seen the darkness. We've seen how complex the justice system is.
We have.
Hopefully it's giving you some things to think about.
Yeah, I hope so.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe. Yeah, it definitely makes you think. I mean, all that planning just to avoid getting caught, but then he just didn't care about, people's lives at all. It's weird.
It's almost like a complete lack of empathy, right? Like he was able to just, turn it off, plan these awful things,
Right.
and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. It's almost like a double life he was living, putting on a show for everyone while he was, hiding this dark side.
And he did it well for a long time.
Yeah, that's what makes it so scary, Like, who can you trust? It could be anyone.
It reminds you to be careful, trust your gut, If something feels wrong, it probably is.
Yeah,
But sometimes people are just really good at hiding who they are, and you don't see it coming.
that's true.
It's scary, but it makes you think about how important it is to, like, talk to each other, look out for each other. If you see something, say something.
Definitely. And this whole thing, it shows how, like, justice can take so long.
Decades.
Yeah.
It took
I
decades.
mean, even after all that, he made money from it.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, what is justice really?
Right. Is it about punishing him, helping him change, or is it something bigger that we haven't figured out yet?
Big questions. I think it's good that we're talking about it, though, As a society, we need to keep thinking about these things.
Absolutely. Keep questioning, keep learning.
Yeah. Well, this deep dive has been a lot. We've seen the dark stuff, the good stuff, the confusing stuff.
We have.
But I think that's the point,
Yeah. To understand things better.
Exactly. So thank you for coming on this deep dive with us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to everyone listening. We hope you learned something.
And keep being curious.
And stay informed. See you
Follow
next time.
and subscribe for more stories.